Hold your cards up.
Yeah.
Evan Jones enjoys spending time with his family, but life hasn't always been carefree for the Ukrainian teenager. His mother died when he was 8. Then Evan and his sister went to live with his grandmother. But when she could no longer care for them, they were placed in an orphanage. He left the institution when a U.S. couple who had hosted him one Christmas decided to adopt him.
It was really amazing when I actually got a family because, I realized that God answered my prayer. And I had a little brother and a sister and another brother, so it was like a complete family like I imagined.
Evan moved with his new family to Charlotte, North Carolina. But it wasn't the happy ending of his dreams. His parents quickly learned they weren't fully prepared to take care of Evan, and they searched for a new family to take him in. Evan's story is not unique. An 18-month investigation by Reuters uncovered parents using internet message boards to advertise unwanted adopted children. It's a practice known as rehoming. Most of the online posts featured children 6 to 14 who had been adopted from countries such as China, Russia, Ethiopia, and Ukraine. The report found these transactions taking place on 8 Yahoo message boards and a Facebook group. One from a mother who adopted a Guatemalan 11-year-old reads, "I am totally ashamed to say it, but we do truly hate this boy." Adoption experts blame part of the problem on lack of government oversight and little international monitoring. Some of the children ended up in unsafe situations.
Children were placed with pedophiles and with people who had psychiatric problems and violent tendencies.
A Liberian teen says her adoptive parents gave her away when she was 13. She says her new guardians told her to sleep in the same bed with them and that the new mom slept without clothing. A girl adopted from Russia was sent to 3 different homes in the U.S. over a 6-month period. Chuck Johnson of the National Council for Adoption says that while the majority of adoptions work out well, he calls the ones uncovered in the news investigation troubling.
It's a double tragedy because when you consider the circumstances the child endured.
He urges families considering adoption to do their research, especially in international arrangements. That includes their adoption agency and prospective child's background. Families should also be prepared to deal with the emotional scars suffered by many orphans.
That's something that every family has to enter into this arrangement realizing that it's very likely that the child that they adopt will have some special needs.
Last December, Russia banned U.S. adoptions of its children after an American woman put her 7-year-old adopted son on a plane back to Russia all by himself. The mother claimed the boy was violent and had severe psychological problems. Adoption experts say in many cases, overwhelmed parents don't know there is help. For those who choose to relinquish their parental rights, there is a safe legal way to do so through adoption dissolution.
It'll be done under the auspices of professional care with social workers and counselors and courts, all making sure that the children's best interests are paramount in wherever they go.
Evan is reaping the benefits of such an arrangement. David and Julie Jones heard about his need for a new home through an international adoption support group.
We had a loving family who's saying, "We can't do this, we need help."
The Joneses and their teenage son built a bond with Evan that grew stronger over time.
I really liked them, and over time I began to call them Mom and Dad.
The Joneses eventually adopted Evan.
We did all this with the consent of the other parents and with, lawyers in both states. We covered our bases every way that we knew that we should.
He says he has no hard feelings toward his previous family. While the family didn't want to do an on-camera interview, they gave us this statement. Evan is and always will be a member of our extended family. In fact, we consider the entire Jones family to be a part of our extended family. Our children think of Evan as a cousin of sorts now, and we hope that we will always have a relationship with Evan. Meanwhile, the Joneses admit taking Evan in has its challenges, but they are committed.
We will not tell you that we have not raised our voices in our home, because we have. But once we have been able to, with God's help, say, okay, God, what is it in me that is pushing that button? And God reveals it, and we can repent or be healed ourselves. Then when the child gets angry and we don't get angry, that's when the healing begins.
And that makes Evan even more grateful.
There's been really bad moments, but they've still kept me and loved me and cared for me. And I mean, after those things are over, they would treat me the same way they treated me before.
Charlene Israel, CBN News.